Okay, we're just getting our next guest up, and I want to take you back to, the start of the year here on the platform. And we got into a little bit of a controversy. There were a whole lot of stories in the woke lefty media, RNZ and TVNZ and everyone else, about supposedly, though no one in Hamilton had noticed, a massive heat wave in Hamilton. That all sorts of heat records for Hamilton had been shattered, according to Radio New Zealand. And this was all being pushed by some doctor called Luke Harrington, a climate scientist. And I think it was in the Centrist. Our good mate Ian Wishart started publishing, well, where are all these records? Where are these records that were shattered? And Ian, as he is, as I want to do, found out that most of it was BS. That resulted, did RNZ correct their story, though? Like, did they correct their story about Israel killing people at aid stations in Gaza when it was proved that it was Hamas? Nah. So, someone went to the Media Council. I actually thought that Radio New Zealand was subject to the Broadcasting Standards Authority. So I'm amazed that people went to the Media Council about this, but they did. And, well, the outcome's been quite interesting. We're joined now by Ian Wishart, journalist. How are you, mate?
Good morning, Sean.
All right. Now, firstly, I do want to ask that, clear this up. Why is this a Media Council complaint? RNZ are governed by the Broadcasting Standards Authority.
Actually, it's a 1-2 punch from my point of view. I've got a BSA complaint in as well. The BSA covers their audio, so Morning Report, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The Media Council covers anything on their website.
Okay, and the Media Council is the voluntary thing, aren't they?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. So, what was your complaint? That the entire story was BS?
The premise of the entire story was BS. It was headlined as records have been shattered and likely to be the most, the hottest that Hamilton's ever seen ever. And buried way down the story is the back end of the story is a piece about how they need to adapt to Hamilton's hot days, which is fine. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
It was buried at the back end of the story. So RNZ, we challenged them because I dug up the Waikato Times reports of the daily temperature readings back in 1934-35 and found that, RNZ had said in 2025 this year, there were 11 days at over 27 degrees.
And let's be clear, Ian, these aren't old ancient records written on a slab somewhere. This is stuff you could kind of Google to find out newspaper headlines from the 1930s. It's not ancient history.
It's not rocket science. It's easy to do, and it was easy enough to compile the spreadsheet and put it before RNZ. They failed to look at it. They misunderstood it, and that was one of the things that emerged in the Media Council and the BSA complaints is that RNZ had not done its homework properly, so they didn't even know what they were looking at. Anyway, they realised they had a problem on day 2 of their story back in February, and Dr. Harrington, Luke Harrington, climate scientist from Waikato, told them you need to change your headline. It didn't shatter any records. So they changed that headline, but they didn't tell the Herald or TVNZ, which had picked up the story as well. And so the RNZ were keeping it on the sly. In the meantime,
even the source for their story said shattered is the wrong word.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they changed the headline on their own story. They didn't tell anyone else that the story was facing complaints or that they changed the headline. So meantime, all the other media are running the story shattered records, and of course RNZ knows it's wrong, and they backed away from it in a million miles an hour.
They know it's a lie. Essentially, it's a lie. If you continue to convey information you know to be false, that is a lie, Ian, by its very nature.
Yeah, in my opinion, Paul Thompson, CEO, needs to resign or be called to account over this because there's a series of things that they've done that RNZ's failed to do their job. He as CEO says, I'm editor-in-chief, I wear the responsibility.
Yeah, the buck stops there. Who was the reporter? Was this Eloise, what's her name?
Eloise Gibson, Chief Climate Change.
Yeah, and she's she's an advocate. She's more of a activist than a journalist.
Yeah, well, that was one of the points I made to the Media Council and the BSA is that the story is drifting into advocacy, not journalism, and that part
now,
of the problem.
Now, let me get it clear. The Media Council ruling, there's also been a BSA ruling, or you're waiting for that?
Still to come.
Okay. And what is the Media Council? Has it had a bob each way? Has it said you were completely right and they were completely wrong?
It's had a bob each way. It says that because RNZ and Luke Harrington used the words likely and probably, that the central angle of the story that it was a record was opinion, not fact, and therefore they got away with a breach of
Well,
inaccuracy.
a record is or it isn't as journalists. Our job as journalists is to sort the wheat from the chaff.